The structure of British government. The Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is the leader of the ruling political party. They appoint cabinet members and control public appointments. The official residence is 10 Downing Street, with Chequers as the country house. The Cabinet. The Prime Minister appoints around 20 senior MPs as ministers responsible for various government departments. Key roles include Chancellor of the Exchequer, Home Secretary, and Foreign Secretary. The Cabinet makes important policy decisions, subject to parliamentary debate and approval. The Opposition. The second largest party in the House of Commons forms the opposition. The leader of the opposition challenges the government and appoints shadow ministers to propose alternative policies. The party system. The main political parties in the UK are the Conservative Party, Labour Party, Liberal Democrats, and others representing Scottish, Welsh, or Northern Irish interests. Independents also exist but are less common in Parliament. Pressure and lobby groups. Organisations like the CBI and Greenpeace influence government policies. They represent various interests and campaign on specific issues. The Civil Service. Civil servants support government policies and deliver public services. They are politically neutral, chosen on merit, and follow core values of integrity, honesty, objectivity, and impartiality. Local government. Democratically elected councils, or local authorities, govern towns, cities, and rural areas. They provide services funded by central government and local taxes. Some areas have mayors as ceremonial or effective leaders. Devolved administrations. Since 1997, powers have been devolved to Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. Each has its own parliament or assembly with control over specific policy areas. Reserved matters like defence and foreign affairs remain under UK government control. The devolved administrations have their civil service. The media and government. Parliament proceedings are broadcast and published in Hansard. Most people get political information from newspapers, television, radio, and the internet. The UK has a free press, and broadcast media must provide balanced coverage of political parties. This summary outlines the structure of the British government, from the Prime Minister to devolved administrations, and the role of various institutions and organisations in the political landscape. The Prime Minister. The Prime Minister, PM, is the leader of the political party in power. He or she appoints the members of the cabinet and has control over many important public appointments. The official home of the Prime Minister is 10 Downing Street, in central London, near the Houses of Parliament. He or she also has a country house outside London called Chequers. The Prime Minister can be changed if the MPs in the governing party decide to do so, or if he or she wishes to resign. The Prime Minister usually resigns if his or her party loses a general election. The Cabinet. The Prime Minister appoints about 20 senior MPs to become ministers in charge of departments. These include Chancellor of the Exchequer, responsible for the economy. Home Secretary, responsible for crime, policing and immigration. Foreign Secretary, responsible for managing relationships with foreign countries. Other ministers, called Secretaries of State, responsible for subjects such as education, health and defence. These ministers form the Cabinet, a committee which usually meets weekly and makes important decisions about government policy. Many of these decisions have to be debated or approved by Parliament. Each department also has a number of other ministers, called Ministers of State and Parliamentary Under-Secretaries of State, who take charge of particular areas of the department's work. The Opposition. The second largest party in the House of Commons is called the Opposition. The leader of the opposition usually becomes Prime Minister if his or her party wins the next general election. The leader of the opposition leads his or her party in pointing out what they see as the government's failures and weaknesses. One important opportunity to do this is at Prime Minister's Questions, which takes place every week while Parliament is sitting. The leader of the opposition also appoints senior opposition MPs to be shadow ministers. They form the shadow cabinet and their role is to challenge the government and put forward alternative policies. The party system. Anyone aged 18 or over can stand for election as an MP, but they are unlikely to win unless they have been nominated to represent one of the major political parties. These are the Conservative Party, the Labour Party, the Liberal Democrats, or one of the parties representing Scottish, Welsh or Northern Irish interests. There are a few MPs who do not represent any of the main political parties. They are called independents and usually represent an issue important to their constituency. The main political parties actively look for members of the public to join their debates, contribute to their costs, and help at elections for Parliament or for local government. They have branches in most constituencies and hold policy-making conferences every year. Pressure and lobby groups are organizations which try to influence government policy. They play an important role in politics. Some are representative organizations such as the CBI, Confederation of British Industry, which represents the views of British business. Others campaign on particular topics, such as the environment, for example, Greenpeace, or human rights, for example, Liberty. The civil service. Civil servants support the government in developing and implementing its policies. They also deliver public services. Civil servants are accountable to ministers. They are chosen on merit and are politically neutral. They are not political appointees. People can apply to join the civil service through an application process, like other jobs in the UK. Civil servants are expected to carry out their role with dedication and a commitment to the civil service and its core values. These are integrity, honesty, objectivity and impartiality, including being politically neutral. Local government. Towns, cities and rural areas in the UK are governed by democratically elected councils, often called local authorities. Some areas have both district and county councils, which have different functions. Most large towns and cities have a single local authority. Local authorities provide a range of services in their areas. They are funded by money from central government and by local taxes. Many local authorities appoint a mayor, who is the ceremonial leader of the council. In some towns, a mayor is elected to be the effective leader of the administration. London has 33 local authorities, with the Greater London Authority and the Mayor of London coordinating policies across the capital. For most local authorities, local elections for councillors are held in May every year. Many candidates stand for council election as members of a political party. Devolved administrations. Since 1997, some powers have been devolved from the central government to give people in Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland more control over matters that directly affect them. There has been a Welsh Assembly and a Scottish Parliament since 1999. There is also a Northern Ireland Assembly, although this has been suspended on a few occasions. Policy and laws governing defence, foreign affairs, immigration, taxation and social security all remain under central UK government control. However, many other public services, such as education, are controlled by the devolved administrations. The devolved administrations each have their own civil service. The Welsh Government and National Assembly for Wales are based in Cardiff, the capital city of Wales. The National Assembly has 60 assembly members, and elections are held every 4 years using a form of proportional representation. Members can speak in either Welsh or English and all of the Assembly's publications are in both languages. The Assembly has the power to make laws for Wales in 20 areas, including education and training, Health and social services. Economic development. Housing. Since 2011, the National Assembly for Wales has been able to pass laws on these topics without the agreement of the UK Parliament. The Scottish Parliament was formed in 1999. It sits in Edinburgh, the capital city of Scotland. There are 129 members of the Scottish Parliament, MSPs, elected by a form of proportional representation. The Scottish Parliament can pass laws for Scotland on all matters which are not specifically reserved to the UK Parliament. The matters on which the Scottish Parliament can legislate include civil and criminal law, health, education, planning, additional tax-raising powers. The Northern Ireland Assembly. A Northern Ireland Parliament was established in 1922, when Ireland was divided, but it was abolished in 1972, shortly after the Troubles broke out in 1969. The Northern Ireland Assembly was established soon after the Belfast Agreement, or Good Friday Agreement, in 1998. There is a power-sharing agreement which distributes ministerial offices amongst the main parties. The Assembly has 108 elected members, known as MLAs, members of the Legislative Assembly. They are elected with a form of proportional representation. The Northern Ireland Assembly can make decisions on issues such as education, agriculture, the environment, health, social services. The UK government has the power to suspend all devolved assemblies. It has used this power several times in Northern Ireland when local political leaders found it difficult to work together. However, the Assembly has been running successfully since 2007. The media and government. Proceedings in Parliament are broadcast on television and published in official reports called Hansard. Written reports can be found in large libraries and at website. Most people get information about political issues and events from newspapers, often called the presses, television, radio, and the internet. The UK has a free press. This means that what is written in newspapers is free from government control. Some newspaper owners and editors hold strong political opinions and run campaigns to try to influence government policy and public opinion. By law, radio and television coverage of the political parties must be balanced, and so equal time has to be given to rival viewpoints.